but how is my employee going to be treated within your organization? That's a fair question. We want to make sure that you understand that your employees are well treated when they work at BBC Global Services. I could do an entire presentation on the culture of our organization and how the culture of our organization is the way that I would want to be treated. So your employees are treated the way that you would want to be treated. Now, here's what I mean by benefits, though. So in addition to a great culture, which I told you we could talk all about, and if you watch the Healthcare Hiring Blueprint, which was a previous webinar that we did, you'll learn a little bit about that culture. But here's the benefits and how your employees are treated. Number one, they provided health insurance, 12 paid days off, 12 sick days, monthly allowance for travel, internet, interest-free loans. Look, we have a heart for the employees, especially the employees in the Philippines. There is a real challenge in the Philippines with payday loans and some other things, and we provide interest-free loans to the employees in the Philippines to ensure that they don't get caught up in that mess and that they can stay productive at work. We also have employee engagement activities, financial literacy classes, 13 months of pay. Guys, your employees are paid not 12 months. We actually pay them an additional month of pay, just for the great work that they do within the campaigns for you guys. All right, accident reduction program, and a number of other additional trainings that we provide for the organization. We just put one on the screen. Double pay on holidays, different Christmases that we celebrate within the countries, shuttle services, shift meals. So these are all things that make BBC Global Service different because we provide wonderful benefits for all of your employees. In addition to that, BBC Global is a difference maker in the industry. Again, we decided, just like all leaders, if we're going to do something, we're going to do it right. And so here's what makes us different. There's no setup fees and no long-term contracts. Staffing is out of our offices. Remember, we told you that we feel that that's very important to remain HIPAA compliant. HIPAA compliance certification provided to you. Employee placement guarantee, meaning that if for whatever reason the employee doesn't work out and we have to find you a new employee, there's no additional charge for that. No additional fees beyond the hourly rate. We have offices in India, Philippines, Mexico, Canada, US. We're also staffing experts. What do I mean by staffing experts? We've been doing this for a long time, over 22 years. We have a US-based leadership team and operations staff, which is huge, which forces our organization to remain federally HIPAA compliant because I guess the right way to say it is that whenever organizations are outside of the country, the federal government has a real hard time enforcing HIPAA regulations in foreign countries. So I'll leave it at that. Again, over 22 years of experience, the internal manager and team lead, which is huge. They're responsible for overseeing your campaign. Assistant with procedure documentation and recording for future reference, and for that manager to ensure that they're following your policies and best practices. I can't tell you how important it is to have not just the employee, but you also have the benefit of the additional team lead that's overseeing that employee in making sure that they're staying on task. We utilize that integrated leadership model, meaning that your employee or staff member works directly for you for your feedback. They attend your company meetings. They participate as you're part of the team. There's no shared services. You're not working with a staff member that's got a shift with you, and they're also answering calls for another organization, and they're also trying to put in data for another organization. This is a dedicated team member. We're doing international recruiting directly for you, and we're providing all the resources and tools to make it work properly. We utilize your current systems, which means we're going to use your ERM system. We're going to use your email addresses. This employee looks like and feels like and sounds like they work just for your organization. In addition to that, we also provide daily reporting. So those are our difference makers. That's what makes BBC Global Services different. Now, oftentimes in a training like this, I teach our team, when they've been through training, they need to do a couple of things. They need to synthesize that information. Again, John Maxwell, leadership guru, says that there is, oftentimes people will say, experience is the best teacher, experience is the best teacher, experience is the best teacher. That's not necessarily true. Think about it. If experience was the best teacher, then every single person that aged would be extremely successful. What John Maxwell says is that evaluated experience is what makes you successful. You have to evaluate the experience. So here's a way you can evaluate your experience. You can figure out what you're going to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing. So I put together some solutions here. What are some things that you can start doing? You can schedule a time within your organization to take your notes, go through your notes, and figure out what you're going to do to implement some of these HIPAA compliance strategies within your organization. Things you're not doing, you should button up, right? What are some things that you should also start doing? Well, if you need a medical virtual assistant, you could schedule a discovery call with a BBC Global outsourcing expert, and they would be happy to have a conversation about the specific role that you would like filled within your organization. What should you stop doing? Well, first and foremost, you can stop stressing and worrying about who you're going to hire and how you're going to hire. You can stop stressing about inefficient hiring practices. Here's the other thing. You can stop asking the question, can I? Can I do this? Leaders don't ask, can I? Leaders ask the question, how can I? How can I? So if you've been wondering, how can you hire a virtual assistant within your organization? I think that a good first step is to book a discovery call with a BBC Global expert. And lastly, what you can do to synthesize this information is decide what you're going to continue doing. Are there things within your organization that you're doing well right now with HIPAA? Evaluate it against this, and that will give you a good learning experience. This will allow you with a medical virtual assistant, guys, if you set up that appointment with a BBC Global specialist and you have that discovery call, then you can continue after that's done and over with, you can continue growing and evolving your healthcare practice. Just like I told you, I would circle back on the conversation. One of the things that we did at that medical device organization with BBC Global is when we had patients that would fall off the funnel, meaning that they needed to be rescheduled and put back on the schedule. Well, a BBC Global specialist outsourcing medical virtual assistant could give that person a call and bring them back on the schedule. How about inbound phone calls that are coming to our practices? They could take those inbound phone calls and they could set those up on the schedule. One of the other things they were able to do is they were able to use our phone system and disposition the calls the proper way so that we could ensure that we could get the data reports that we needed. And they built a custom data report based upon phone calls that we can measure and manage employee performance. They provided us with a team leader. And that team leader was integral in ensuring providing coaching and feedback to those team members. And so I urge you to do the right thing, that if you're looking at a medical virtual assistant, schedule at least the appointment and have the conversation, the discovery conversation with one of our experts on our team.